Hello everyone, my name is Yujing. Today I'm here to teach you about hairstyling. If you have any questions, feel free to leave your questions in the chat. In our previous lessons, we have talked about some hairdressing. There are some questions here from you guys, and that's related to the tools. I will let you know how you can help solving the problems, even if you don't have any tools. All right, then. Let's go straight into the 5 questions that we had as homework and their answers. Last time the question is how to create a one twist and clip princess hairstyle. Do you guys have any questions regarding to this part? Do you guys all remember what a one twist is? Any questions? All right, then if there are no questions so far, basically when we're performing the one twist, most students would have some issues with their hair clips. And these are the pins and clips that we used recently. It's very small, as you can see on the screen. It is an essential tool here. As we've mentioned, when we are putting on the pins, we need to be careful. So say, for example, I'm just getting a random section of my hair, and when I want to secure it, for example, I'm performing a twist right now. If I twist counterclockwise, then where should I put the pin? Should I put the pin on the left side or on the right side? If you put the pin at the wrong position, you will not be able to secure the hair. And if you accidentally didn't clip enough amount of hair, then it will also loosen pretty fast. So like I mentioned, if we're twisting it counterclockwise, then basically we should put the hairpin on the left rather than on the right. So this is very important. Remember, if you, for example, apply it to the right, then it won't be very helpful. So let me demonstrate it for you. So we twist it to the left. We want to put the hairpin. Do you see the hair over here? There's a hair stream, and there's also a hair stream on the left. So this is the place you want to put the hairpin. Over here. Put it into the root of the hair, and then push it towards the more density part of your hair, and then comb the rest of your hair down. Then you will be able to secure this part on the top, and all I did was use one hairpin. Next, on the sides, we can divide it into 2 sections. So we comb the hair first. And as mentioned before, if you twist to clockwise or counterclockwise, remember that the side hairs, you want to try to gather it to the middle, then it will be more beautiful. So for example, this time we twist it clockwise, and we comb the hair again. So we twist it clockwise this time and cross it over the middle. And again, we apply the hairpin from the bottom of the hair, and again we push it into the part that has more hair. Then use your fingers to press onto the hairpin and then smoothen the hair below. So this is the second part. At this time, we can also pinch and pull a bit of the hair on the top to kind of adjust it. Next, we're going to move to the right. So same, divide into 2 sections, grab a section of hair, smooth it out, And this time we want to try to do it counterclockwise and have it overlap with the hair that we've done before. Use a hairpin again. Again, insert it from the bottom and then push it towards the bunch that you just collected. Smoothen the rest. And say, for example, if one hairpin isn't enough to secure it, you can use a second hairpin. But when you're applying the second one, remember, apply it above the existing hairpin. So don't apply it below the existing hairpin. You need to apply it above it to secure it more. So kind of like this. Next, we will move on to the left again. This time, we can try to grab the hair above your ears and move it all of it to the back. Again, twist it one time clockwise and then apply the hairpin. Next, we'll move on to the right side. Again, counterclockwise it, twist it one time and move it towards the middle of the back of your head. And again, apply the hairpin. So here we apply it from beneath and push it towards the hair. Then voila, here is the princess hairstyle with a one twist. Now regarding to this one twist princess hairstyle, do you guys have any questions? Feel free to ask anytime. Actually, I have encountered a lot of students who ask me the question, teacher, if, oh, okay, there are two questions. All right, so let's go through the two questions first. Some questions are coming in from the Spanish side. Please wait a bit. Thank you. Okay, so regarding to the first question, someone asked, before doing the hairstyle, do I need to apply any specific products? Now, if you want to just make a very simple hairstyle like this one here, because some people have a little fuzzy hair, you can apply some pomades onto the hair first. So don't apply too much, because if you use too much hair oil, then basically it will not have a very good feeling and texture above your head. So remember, the amount really depends on, as long as you can kind of smooth your hair with it, then it should be okay. Don't apply too much or else it'll be a little bit too greasy. So I'll demonstrate over here. Let me just quickly take off some hair clips. Okay, I will use this section to demonstrate. So for example, this section of hair, if I apply some hair oil onto this, right here, so you'll see over here, it's a little bit fuzzy. I can apply some pomades or hair oil and try to smooth it out so that it won't stick out. So you can see over here, the fuzz actually disappeared. So you can utilize a bit of the pomades to help you smoothen your hair. And for other products, I think they are not that necessary, because I'm afraid if you apply too many products, it might affect the brightness and also the overall texture of your hair. So once you have smoothened your hair, you can also apply it to the back and apply one twist, and then secure it with a hairpin. Regarding to the second question, which was if today, for example, I've already completed the hairstyle, and even though I applied the pomades, but it's still a little bit fuzzy and it has a bit of stranded hair, then we can use this hairspray, the setting hairspray. Now remember to use these kind of misty ones, so don't apply the ones that are actually liquid, because if you use the liquid one, they will also damage the texture of your hair. So let's look at this side. You can see here, because the hair is a bit short here, we can use a hairspray and also apply it with the comb. Try to smooth it out before the hairspray dries. Then we can take away the fuzz. So apply again. Okay, so here you can see that the texture here is actually getting better. So this is when something that we should pay attention to when we're choosing our products. Okay, so it will look like this. Next, question number 3. What was question number 3? Oh, okay, I remember. Yeah. So the third question was, if today my hair has different lengths, so maybe my hair is till the shoulder, then I think it's kind of a short hair. So let me put the hair down for you. Okay, so say for example your length is around over here to the shoulder, then basically if your hair above is not very short, you can still apply the one twist method. Now for these kind of stranded hairs, you can use the hairspray to help you stick them together. Then you can apply this one twist technique. Now, does this answer the question that was asked before? Or if you like, you can also apply a different kind of method. So say, for example, if the hair is always dropping over here, then we don't need to pull it all the way back. We can also do a one twist right behind the ear. And then after the ear, we do another one twist and pull it back to the back of the head. This is also another technique that you can apply. So you can see there might be some short hair on the bangs. Then you can basically perform a one twist right after the ear, secure a hairpin here. Then the hair will be able to be secured right after the ear because some hairs might be too short to be pulled back all the way to the back of the head. So then we apply a second twist here, and we twist it back to the back of the head. So that is another way for you. Now, so if you have curly hair, then like this princess hairstyle, I would recommend you to, after applying the princess hairstyle, if you have curly hair, it is fine if you just leave it like this, because if you have curly hair, it has a more sweet vibe when you apply it with the princess hair. So if you have a curly hair, this is a very good hairstyle for you. And some students will ask, maybe on the top of my head, my hair is also curly. What should I do? So if you have curly hair on the top, basically when you are applying the one twist, then it's also fine. It doesn't have to be straight here on the top. It can be curly, and then you can still do a one twist, and it will create more dimensions. So you will have a more vivid princess hairstyle. So you don't have to have straight hair to make a princess hairstyle. It really depends on what kind of vibe you want to present. You want a cute one. If you want a cute one, then curly hair would be the right fit for you. If you want to be elegant, then it will be more suitable for the straight hair to apply the princess hairstyle. You can use the hair dryer, you can use the straightener to help you straighten your hair if you want to make it straighter. Okay, the second question. Okay, so remember, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat and we will answer them as soon as possible. And the second is that when we are applying a corn perm, what should we pay attention to? And I want to remind you that when we are using the corn perm, basically we're trying to make the hair a little bit more voluminous. So if you don't have the tools to use to create a corn perm, we can apply other tools such as a comb. So for example, I will demonstrate how to do it. So if we want it to be a little bit more voluminous, if we have some corn perm, we can also apply it here, but if you don't have it, you can use another technique to make it a little bit more voluminous. So get the first layer of hair, and remember the section, you want to try to spread it and fan it out a bit. So like this, you can see it is a flat surface, and the angle is 45 degrees forward. So we want to make it like this, and then apply the comb. Use the comb directly 90 degrees like this, and the length here is around maybe the length of one finger, and apply it from here, and then comb it backwards towards your scalp, so it will create this special effect. Then once you're done with the first strand, move on to the second strand. The same techniques applied. Again, use the comb directly 90 degrees and comb it backwards. So remember, we want to try to push it down so that when you push it down, it will all be accumulated at the beginning of the hair. So then you will be able to make it a bit more voluminous in the future. And then the third layer, get a strand of hair, push it forward 45 degrees, and then use the comb to comb it back all the way to the root of the hair. So remember, kind of push it down a bit so it will stack on top of each other. Then put it down together. So you'll see that here it's a bit more dimensional. And then grab this little section. So when you already have this kind of fuzzy effect, apply your comb more horizontally like this and kind of just smooth it to the back. We don't want to apply it in a vertical direction, then it will just mess things up. All right, once you're done with that, apply one twist and then again secure it with a hairpin. And use the rat tail part of the comb to kind of smooth it out a bit, adjust the design. Okay. Like now you can see that it is a voluminous hairstyle, and even if I press on top of it, it will not collapse. So this is another technique when you don't have a hair crimper. You can apply this within using a single comb, and it will stay that way. So this is the answer towards the question that was just asked. Are there any more questions? There are some questions coming from the Spanish side. All right, to answer the first question that was asked, which is if the bangs are, if you want to create a couple of layers on the bang and create some lines in the front area, then basically here after you comb it, you can kind of pinch and pull some strands of hair out. Then you can create some dimensions here. So you can apply this technique as well. You can use a comb to create the voluminous effect first, and then use some pinch and pulls on the pieces of hair that you want to create the layers of effect on. Then it will not be a very flat hair. And to the second question, which is, do we need to have hairspray spraying on the hair when we are applying the technique that was just taught? So my answer is, if you have a very healthy hair, or if you have a very rigid and hard, solid kind of hair, then you can apply a bit of hairspray on the root of the hair to increase the fraction. Because once you spray the hairspray, it will create a kind of dry feeling on your hair, and we can utilize that kind of effect when we are applying the previous technique. Now, if your hair doesn't need to apply hairspray to become a voluminous hair, then you don't really need to use a hairspray. So it depends on the person's hair. Now, if you have a hair crimper, you need to be careful. There are some tips. The first is that when you're applying them, the first is I often tell my students the hair crimpers are basically there to help you make your hair a bit looser and to make it a bit more voluminous, but we don't want to apply it too much. So I'll just demonstrate for you. So we don't want to make your hair too rigid after applying the hair crimper. So when you're applying the hair crimper and the corn perm kind of feeling, you want to make sure that there are layers. The angle is very important. So say for example on the side of the hair, if we apply it horizontally, that is the correct way. But most of the times, a lot of students will apply it like this, and the angle is too low. So if this angle is too low, you will not be able to reach the root of the hair. Can you grab that for me, please? It's over there in that bag. So when we are applying the hair crimper here, remember to leave 2 centimeters. So horizontally, and we apply like this. And if you lower the angles, you can see that here, even if I apply it to the top, I still can't clamp onto the root of the hair because the angle is wrong. So remember to apply like this when it is horizontal. If the angle was too low, you'll see that we won't be able to reach the root. So we need to apply it horizontally. So every layer should be like this. So it will create this kind of radiant feeling. So on the top of your head, actually, the angle is 90 degrees up. So this is the key points when applying the hair crimper. Also, remember to create layers and also pay attention to the angles when you apply the hair crimper. All right, moving on to the next question. What are the steps for a two-twist technique? Let me demonstrate it directly. So get 2 sections of hair, overlay them each other. The one on the top, twist it towards the middle of the two, it's kind of like this, and then cross them over. And then the one on the top, again, apply another twist towards the center and then cross them again. And then repeat this method over again. So cross, twist, cross, twist. So it will create this kind of two-twist effect. This is the correct way. Let me demonstrate a wrong way of doing it. So let me hold this one first. Okay, next I will demonstrate one that is wrong. Say, for example, if you forgot a step, this is what will happen. If you simply twist the 2 sections of hair together without twisting them towards the middle of the 2 hairs, it will look like this. Can you tell the difference? One has a more dimensional feeling and the other is super flat. You can't see any lines on it. So remember to apply a twist after overlapping the section, because once you apply that twist, it will create a more dimensional feeling, or it will look like this, which is a bit more dull and vague. So after applying this, you can also pinch and pull some of the hair strands out to create the fuzz, to create it, to make it a bit more dimensional. Like this. Okay. So let me apply a two-twist princess hairstyle as a demonstration. So like the princess hairstyle, if it is very suitable and very elegant if you want to go on a date or go to a formal occasion, or if you want to create a sweep vibe today, the princess hairstyle is very suitable for these occasions. Okay, so we can apply some hair oil and also some pomades. Remember to apply enough pomade on your hands, and it also needs to be on your fingers because we also use your fingers when creating this part. Now divide it into two sections. Apply two twists. Now stack the section below to the ones on the top and twist it. So it's stack, overlap, and then twist, and then stack, overlap, and twist again. So here, if there are some fuzz here, you can spray some hairspray to have them stick together. Then pinch and pull to make the design you want. Then move it towards the middle of the back of your head and use a clip to temporarily fix it there. And also the other side is the same. We can first prepare our hair bands, and this is something that we'll use later to finish this hairstyle. Again, pinch and pull some of the hair to create the effect you want. After that, put the two together, combine them together like this, then apply the hairband. Okay, after applying it, remember to grab a section and circle around a bit. After that, pull the end of the hair through the rubber band. Then we can kind of adjust the hair over there. Then we can use the hairspray to smoothen out the parts that are not smooth. We can also pinch and pull some parts on the top to make it a bit more voluminous. Then spray some hairsprays to set the whole hairstyle. Okay, so this is what it will look like by applying 2 twist methods on the princess hairstyle. And the only thing that I've applied is a single hairband. Isn't that easy? And of course, this hairstyle is very suitable for any occasion. It's good for dates. It will make you look very elegant. And if you want to go to a conference or a meeting, because when you see that when you apply this hairstyle, it will make you look very elegant and graceful. So this hairstyle is basically very useful for a lot of different occasions. So that's why 2 twist methods are very important. It's because it is very useful. Are there any questions until now? All right, moving on to question number 4. Now, I want to ask you a question. When you are practicing this at home, do you guys have a curler like this? A curling one like this? Do you guys have this? These kind of tools at home? Do you guys have a curling wand at home? Okay, I know that some people have it and some people don't, so I will talk about 2 of them. The ones using this and the ones not using this. Now I'll talk about some key points when using this, and then we'll talk about the ones that don't need to use this. So remember when we talk about inwards and outwards about curling in the lessons before? Do you guys remember that when we are applying curls on the hair, there's inwards and outwards? Do you guys remember this? Okay, so I would just demonstrate it for you guys. Now, let's take this hairstyle, for example. We can use the curling wand to curl the hair on the bottom to create more layers. So we can grab a section of hair and apply a outward curling technique. Now, if you want to create these kind of effects, remember to hold your curling wand horizontally. So it will look like this. So clip onto it. So the end of your hair will go forward. So you can see that it kind of goes to the front and comes to the back again. And then after that, slowly move your wand to the back and then put it back into the position again by curling it up. And also remember, you need to touch this part to see if it's hot or not, because if it's not hot, you don't want to pull it back too quick, because if it's not hot, then the effect won't be there. So touch it first when it's a bit hot, then you slowly move back with the curling wand. And then once you go to the end of the hair, go back again when curling at the same time. So then it will create an effect like this. This is outward curling. From the side, you can see that the whole stream is curling up together. And I'll also demonstrate the outward curling on the right as well. you can see that the end on the left hand side is actually facing the left, and when I am applying an outward curling on the right, it will have a different direction. So again, horizontally applying the curling wand and then rolling the curling wand, you can see that double check if it is hot. If it's hot, then hold on to the end of the tail and move your wand back, then curl it back up to the original place. Then move it back again, move it forward, repeat this process. And for the end of the tail, if you put it down like this, then basically it will look like this. When I was applying on the left hand side, because the end of the hair was pointing at this direction, so I moved all up the angle to let it kind of drop down naturally. All right, I'll teach you guys how to create a more dimensional feeling. Once the hair is cooled down, we want to comb it down smoothly. Now you can realize the wave looks like this, so press down to this low part and then kind of pinch and pull some strands of hair from this direction and spray the hairspray. Then after that, we move to the end of the hair and apply the same technique. Now you can see the difference between the ones that we've pinched and pulled and the ones that we didn't. For the ones that we didn't, you will see that it's a bit more heavier. It goes all the way down and it doesn't feel that light. So you can see there's a wave here. Press down on the low part and then try to pinch and pull some parts of the hair from the wave. And then apply your hairspray. Also at the end. Apply the same technique. So you can see that once you've applied this technique, there is a very big difference between the two sides and the middle. Now let me continue to process the one in the middle. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me questions. For those of you who have a curling wand, this is the technique you want to apply. If you have any questions, you can ask now. For those that you don't have a curling wand, I will talk to you about how we can apply the same effect without a curling wand later. So applying to the middle of the hair, again, applying the same techniques. All right, once it is done, pitch and pull some of the strands of hair to create the dimension you want. Now, before applying that, always remember to comb your hair down first. Don't comb upwards, comb it downwards, because if you comb it upwards, you'll create a fuzz. So comb it down smoothly, then you will see this wave and you will be able to pinch and pull and create a more dimensional feeling. Then apply the hairspray. The same goes for this side. Smooth it down. Now it is finished. So you can see that it's curling on the bottom and on the top is a princess hairstyle. So you can see that it's a huge difference if you can create this kind of feeling compared to a normal princess hairstyle. So the curling one is very useful if we want to create these kind of curling hairs. Now, the size of the curling wands, this one over here is 32. It's a bit more bigger because the curliness I want to create is kind of a big wave feeling, so I will apply a bigger curling wand. Now, are there any questions so far? Creating the curls with a curling wand? If not, then I will continue. Moving on to the next part, that is if you don't have these kind of curling wands at home and we still want to create this kind of curling feeling, what other techniques can we apply? One way is to spray some water to make it a bit wet and then apply the two-twist method. Once you apply the two-twist method and apply a hairband and along with a dryer, you can dry your hair. And once you let your hair down, it will also create a curling feeling because I'm sure everybody has a hair dryer. So this is a pretty common tool that everybody has. You can apply the two-twist techniques that we've just taught. Spread your hair into two sections, apply two twist techniques, and apply the hairband, and then use the dryer to dry your hair. And you need to make sure that it is absolutely dry before you let down your hair. Then once you have released the rubber band, you will have the curling effect. So divide into two halves to apply the two twist techniques, and then dry it with a dryer, and then wait until it's dry. Take off the hairband, and then it will also create a wave on your hair. And then applying the same techniques of pinch and pull, we can also create the same feeling even without a curling wand. So does this solve your problem if you lack the tools that you need? There are also a lot of ways for workarounds. All right. Are there any other questions? If not, we will move on to the other question. Now, in the homework, there was an assignment that is to complete a low ponytail within 20 minutes. Now, did any of you have any questions when you were doing this assignment for the low braided ponytail in 20 minutes? If not, I will demonstrate directly. If you have any questions in the process, feel free to leave it in the chat. Okay, so we want to try to find the diamond shape over here and grab onto this section below it. This point is basically horizontal to the ears. So here you can see the ear. Grab onto this point and then comb it a bit. And then apply a 3 twisting technique here. So it will look like this. We braid it down like this. And then hold on to this place. Make sure you can create some dimensions on the top. Remember to smooth it first, then pinch a little bit and pull it up a bit. so that it won't create any fuzz. So remember, smooth it and then pinch and pull. Smooth it and then pinch and pull. Now if you directly pull on it, it will create the fuzz. So repeat this pinch and pull process after smoothing it. As to how high you want it to be, it really depends on your preference. If we look at it from the side, you can see it creates this very cute effect. And next we'll apply it to the top of our head. After that, apply some hairspray. Next, we will apply a hairband on the bottom. Next, we will gather the sections on the sides and hold them together with the middle. Then apply another hairband. Again, grab the end of the hair circle it before putting the end of it through the hairband to hide the hairband. Make minor adjustments in the end. And also apply some hairspray. Okay, so there we go. Then we will make some minor adjustments on the bottom. So for example, if there was a natural wave underneath, then we can also try to make the wave more obvious by using the pinch and pull method that we just mentioned. And secure it by applying hairspray. Now, there we go, creating a low braided ponytail within a short period of time. Now, are there any questions regarding to this low ponytail? Any questions regarding to the braiding part or the part to hide the hairbands? Do you guys have any questions? We're getting some questions from the Spanish side. Let's take a minute. Okay, so from the Spanish side, they've asked, can we also apply the same techniques for a high ponytail? And the answer is yes. If you want to apply the ponytail on the top, you will need to have a higher point. So let me just demonstrate directly. Now, when you are changing hairstyles and there are hairbands, remember to use scissors to cut the hairbands, because our hairbands are the ones that are slip resistant. So if you want to untangle it, sometimes it's uncomfortable for the client. So I would suggest you to directly use a scissors to cut the hairband, these kind of elastic bands here, because sometimes when you want to untie it, it will hurt the customer's hair or they might feel painful. So I would suggest you to use a scissor to just cut it. Now, if I want to create a high ponytail, then the ponytail's position is usually around a place that is over here. Let me show you. So from the chin and then to the ear, if you have an imaginary line, you can see that if we tie a ponytail here, it will create a young vibe, a more vibrant vibe. So we will apply a high ponytail over here. We want to apply these 3-strand braids on top this as the previous one before. Now remember, just one twist, one section should be fine, and then pinch and pull on the front. Then use an elastic band to secure it in place. There's a small technique here, and that is to hold the hairband and also push it forward like this while holding down a stream of hair. So let me do it again. Hold on to the hairband and hair onto a small section of the hair, then push the hairband on top. You will see that it creates more dimensions on the top over here. After that, we'll move on to the sides. Now today, if you want to apply a high ponytail, I would suggest you to um, divide the sections into the parts in front of the ear and after the ear. Why? Because when we're applying the high ponytail, if we want to grab all of the hair and stack it on the top, it's very easily that it will be a bit messy. So I would suggest you to divide the front from the back and then apply the ones on the back first and then apply the ones on the sides. It will be faster and it would also be a bit more tidier. So when you are combing your hair to create a high ponytail, every time you comb your hair, your left hand is also moving upwards. So let me do it again. In the beginning I was here, but every time I comb it, my left hand moves upwards and then it will move up to the point where I want it to be. Now remember to comb it in one direction. All right, so now we've reached the spot that we want. Now here is something that is also pretty critical. If you want to create a high ponytail, remember to use two hairbands. Use two because it will be more secure and it won't fall apart later on. And your whole ponytail will stay in place. It won't descend as time goes by. So after you have tightened it, remember to push it forward to the root like this, and then it will be the sides. When you are combing the hair on the side, remember you want to create a smooth feeling of your hair stream. So if you want to create that, we don't want to do this. We don't want to create it directly like this. These kind of designs and style would be kind of like walking the catwalk rather than for normal and soft and tenderness. So if you want to be a more soft and tender feeling, then I would suggest you to comb it to the back first and then gradually twist it and bring it upwards. So you can see that the lines and the streams are actually creating a curve rather than a straight line upwards. So this is very important. So here you will see that you have a very beautiful line, which is a curve, and it will be more soft, more tender, more elegant. Now I will suggest you to apply the one twist and clip technique to kind of secure it over here first. Pinch and pull to create the dimensions you want, and then the other side. Now remember to pull it backwards first, horizontally, like this, and then slowly curve it up and twist one time over to the center and adjust the lines here, adjust your hair stream. So you can see that the curve here is very smooth and beautiful. It creates a sense of softness. It is better than pulling it directly to the back. And again, clip first. Next, apply the hairband on your ponytail to secure all of them together. Then again, hold on to your hairband and take a section from below, circle it around the hairband for 2 times, and put the end of that hair strand through the rubber band and pull it outwards. Then for here, you can also create some dimensions to create a more vivid effect. Here you can see that the lines are very soft and then smooth the ponytail. Then here we can create some waves. So you can apply all these techniques on the high ponytail. So this was one of the questions that was asked from the students. So as long as you know the basic techniques of hairstyling, you can create a lot of different hairstyles. Okay, are there any questions so far? Okay, so here's the answer for the high ponytail. There you go. Remember, the point is the imaginary line from the chin to the ear and to the back of your head. That is where you want to put your high ponytail. And another key point here is that we need to loosen it apart a bit on this part. If it is horizontal, it feels a bit less energetic. So here I will kind of fan it out a bit. So from the root, I will kind of pinch and pull it. So here you will see a little lump and you will create more dimensional feeling. So this is a little technique that you can use. Remember to fan it out a bit, grab onto the root, pinch and pull it out a bit to create more dimensions, and that will give you a more vivid and energetic vibe. Pinch and pull over here as well. Apply some hairspray. Okay, now you can see that the whole vibe is different from the vibe from before. You can see that this is a more vivid feeling. Okay, so that's it for the high ponytail. Any questions for this part? All right, if not, then moving on to the next question. Oh, this is the last question, it seems like. So are there any other questions? Okay, if not, let me talk a bit about the things that we have taught in class. Let's talk about the 3 hairstyles that were mentioned in class. The first is the delegated braiding drop style. Do you guys have any questions or problems that you've encountered when you're trying this hairstyle? The delicate drop style. If not, then I will tell you some key points when we are creating this kind of drop style. So a very key point is that it needs to be, the point on the back needs to be leveled as the temples. If you accidentally have the 3-strand branded a little bit too high or too low, it will create a different effect and it will look a bit collapsed. And also the second hairstyle that was mentioned in class, which was the low braided ponytail Korean style, remember that the point where we want to secure the ponytail is over here, that where I just pointed to. And the third is the princess hairstyle braiding. You need to pay attention to the level of curliness and also the voluminous, the whole voluminous style and voluminous effect is what we need to pay attention to when it comes to the princess hairstyle. Would you like me to demonstrate a specific hairstyle here, whether it's the princess hairstyle or the Korean low braided ponytail, or if it's the drop style delicate braiding? Would you like me to demonstrate either one of them? Okay, there are some questions coming in from the Spanish side. They would like to see a demonstration on the princess hairstyle braiding. We're still confirming the whole question. Okay, because a lot of students in the Spanish side would like to see the princess hairstyle braiding, so I will demonstrate the princess hairstyle braiding. Again, apply some hair oil on our palms to smooth it out. Smooth all your hair. Alright, for the princess hairstyle braiding, the first step is to divide your hair into different sections. So you can imagine a imaginary diamond shape on the top and grab onto this part in the middle. And here, the level is approximately the same level as your eyebrows or as your temple. Over here. Okay, so this is section number 1. Take a clip and secure it first. The second section is on the side. On the side, basically, we start from this point, which is the top of the diamond shape. We will draw down from here to create this portion until this point. So from this point until the point in the back. And when we are dividing the sections, I would recommend you to divide it into different sections. So let's apply one that is less sectionized. So this is like creating the layers. You'll see that here it is very soft and very straight. If I apply this technique called dividing it kind of like a thunderbolt, then it will create a different feeling. So now check it again, you will see that the layers are different and the effect is totally different. So you have more layers by applying this technique by drawing a thunder shape because it's zigzag, so it will create more layers. If everything is all right, we will also secure it with the clip. Now the same applies to the right side. First we smooth the hair, then from the top we create a zigzag like a thunderbolt shape onto the very back. Grab onto this section and then comb the rest of the sections and apply a clip here to secure the hair. Okay, then here we want to apply the 3 braided strands. The first layer's length should be the length of your fingers. So until here. Smooth it out first. When you are smoothing the hair, we want to comb all the way down to the root of the hair so that when you are pinching and pulling later, it will not create any fuzz. Once you have smoothed your hair, we will use our fingers and our hands to smoothen it out to make it softer. Then grab onto it using the 3-side technique and then braid them together. Add a side, add another layer. This is one layer. Then here we go, there's another layer. Like this. Once it's done, create the lines and the streams on top. Start from the middle. Like mentioned before, when we are pinching and pulling, we want to smooth it first, then pinch and pull. Pinch, pull, and release. Then the lines will be very clean. Here we apply the same method. Also over here. So it will be like this. It creates a little triangle on the top. This is what makes it beautiful. Next, we will move on to the sides. We want to create this kind of dimensional effect. So we want to pinch and pull on these parts. So here we want to create a little more dimension to make it pop up a bit. Then apply the hairband. After applying the hairband, make sure to tighten it and push it upwards. Apply some hairspray. Next, we'll move on to the sides. Comb it diagonally to the back. After that, gather it together and then do a twist at the place beyond the rubber band. Do not apply a twist before the hairband. Then the lines will be too rigid and it will not look good. So I suggest you to smooth it first, and then after that pull it over the elastic band's position, then apply a twist. So then the lines will look better when it's done. Use a hairpin to secure it. Then try to pinch and pull to make the dimensions and make the hair stream look good. The same applies to the right. Again, the same techniques. Smooth your hair first. Pull it across your middle section, then twist after it goes beyond the hairband and apply it with a hairpin to secure it in position. Then try to pinch and pull to make the lines and the hair stream. Okay, and that is the top part for this hairstyle. Next, we will move on to the lower part of this hairstyle, which is creating the curves and the waves. On the side, we want to divide it into 5 sections. If I want to increase the curliness, remember you want to get a section that is a very small strand of hair. If you want to have less curly hair, you can have a bigger section because the more hair you have, the heavier it is. So when we're curling it, it won't be as curly. So if you want a curly hair, remember to just get a smaller amount of hair and apply the curling wand. Now you don't need to apply too much curling on the end of the hair as it is already curly already. Next, we move on to the second strand. Okay, so now I have applied 3 outward curling strands. Then I will apply 2 to 3 inward curling sections later on to create the sense of layers and to make it a bit more voluminous. Now this one I will apply the inward curling, so the end will point to the back. Okay, so I will apply one more in the front, then outward curling. When it's outward, the end of the hair actually faces the front, which is the face. On the bangs, you can also apply this. It can be outwards and inwards, but I would suggest you to apply an outward curling. Now, when I was applying previously, my clamp is facing upwards. Now I can use my clamp and it will face downwards with a 45-degree angle. So like this. And the position should be as high as your eyes. Don't go too up and don't apply it too low. So apply it here, curl it, and then just smoothly let it go. So it will become like this. Then we will use the comb to smooth it a bit and create more layers to the back. Next, tightly gather 2 strands, and the height is approximately the same level as your eyes. For these small strands, it could be a bit higher, like at your eyebrows. Then apply the same technique that was used, and it will create this kind of effect. And we can create a second strand. Same technique. Remember, your curling wand is actually pointing to the back and smoothly letting it off. So the angle is not that sharp. Next, we will focus on the bangs. Now, the 2 strands that we've just worked on, we put them in the front first, and for the ones in the back, we will gather them first, smooth them out, and then take the 2 strands that we've just worked on and overlap them on top of the other hairs to create the sense of layer. And we can use the hairspray here to secure it in place. We want to try to create the feeling of a smooth and curly line and some waves. So here you can see that the waves and the curls are very beautiful. And this could even help you better create a better vibe. Okay, so the next one's the same. Comb it down, smooth it out. When you are applying these methods, remember you can go along with the hairsprays because these hairs are very light because there's only a small amount of them, so we can apply the hairspray to secure them in place very easily. If you see any parts that is not curly enough or is not wavy enough, you can apply the same technique to bring out the lines and the curves. So smooth it out. You can see that there's a wave. Grab onto the part of the wave and make it a bit more obvious. Okay, so if we look at this, I've only applied 5 curls and they're all pretty light. So after these 5 curling strands, you can see that while it seems like you have redesigned your whole hairstyle, you have curled your whole hairstyle, but actually we just applied 5 strands on the curling wand. Then if we apply the same techniques to the right hand side, then it becomes the delicate princess hairstyle. So you can compare the left with the right. If we didn't curl it, it would look like this. So there is a huge difference. So if you have a curling wand, it would be very good if you could create the effect on the left, which is creating the curves and the waves. It will look more elegant. Okay, so any other questions for this hairstyle? Do you have any questions? I remember someone mentioned they want to also see me demonstrate the delicate braiding drop style, so I will demonstrate the delicate drop style now. Okay, so for this drop style hairstyle, we can also apply the same techniques, that is to imagine a imaginary diamond shape, and the point should be the same level as your temple and as your eyes. Now let me tell you the reason why we want to have an imaginary diamond. Why can't we use a square? Why do we have to use a diamond shape? The reason is because if you use a square on top, like what I'm doing now, then when we're pushing it up, you will see that it is very wide in the front. And this won't look very beautiful when we want to apply it in a overall makeup. That's why we always suggest our clients or our students to divide the parts into a diamond shape rather than a square shape. Like here, you can see that it is sharp. It has a tipping point, so it will look better altogether. Now to the sides, you can see that these hairs, we will comb them back with a 45 degrees angle. They are not going up. All right, so I will continue my demonstration. So imaginary diamond and zigzag all the way back to the point where it is the same level as your temples. Okay, secure it with a clip first. Next, we will deal with the parts on the sides. There will be 2 sections here. Same goes for the right. Next, we will use the 3 strands braids with sides on the back. If we use just the 3 strands braids without the sides, it will look like this. Now, as to how long the braid should be, it should be as long as the end of your chin, so about this place. Then kind of flat, kind of fan out a bit like this. Then continuing to the sides, we want to divide it into 2 layers, the top and the bottom. So we will start from this highest point and divide it into 2 sections, like this. Then we will first focus on the top section. We'll apply the 2-twist method, and then add an additional layer on the bottom. We want to apply the ones on the bottom to create the line and create the hair stream, so we apply the bottom part and then add another stream. And spray some hairspray to smooth out all the fuzz. And here, again, pinch and pull to create these kind of dimensional effects. Why do we want to apply this? Because we want to be careful when we're pulling it. So that's why I suggest you to pull the hairs in the inner layer. So then we will apply a clip. Next, we'll work on the other side. The same method applies. Again, we divide it into 2 sections. Apply the 2-twist method. So the bottom one will go on top of the top one, and then add an additional layer from the bottom. Add 2 layers and then stop. Pinch and pull to create dimensional effects. Then also pinch and pull some of the parts on the top. Next, we will use a hairband to secure the two twists from both sides. We will put this here in the second layer of the 3-strand braids that we've just braided. Now here, there's a key point that I would like to remind you, and that is, say for example, if you want to create a princess hairstyle, then basically until now, what you only need to do is to make it curlier on the bottom. This is also another type of princess hairstyle. All right, so let's move on to creating our drop style. Again, applying to this section, we apply the two-twist method. Pinch and pull the hair on the inner layer, and also pinch and pull to create some dimensions on the side. After that, clip it and secure it for now. Moving on to the left. We want to overlap the section on the bottom with the top, then add the first layer, the second layer, and again, pinch and pull the inner layers of the hair. Create dimensions on the side, adjust the hair streams, then after it's done, use a hairband to secure both strands. Okay, so we want to put it here, so spread it and then put it through the braids. Okay, then it will look like this. Once it is done, create a fishtail on the bottom. So maybe some clients like this, you can also leave it like this, or you can also make it curlier. That's also another style. So there are actually a lot of variants to a single hairstyle. You can create different feelings with different variants. If you want to make a fishtail on the bottom, you will need to pay attention to this detail here. Say, for example, there are two elastic bands and also another third one over here. Don't spread your hair like this. This is wrong. So you only want to separate them as a whole rather than separating the hairs within the same hairband. So for example, I'm grabbing it like this. This is okay because you can see that the hairbands are either in my left hand or in the right hand. Okay, once we have the two sections, on the outer layer, select some hair, overlay lap, move it forwards. The same goes for the left, and repeat this whole process of getting hair from the outer part and putting it to the center and the inner part, overlapping each other. As to how long your fishtail braid goes, it really depends on your customers or what kind of feeling they want. So usually if you braid it until here and leave the end with an S shape, that should be all right. If you want to create a stronger sense of feeling with the fishtail braid, then you can braid more to the bottom. So today I choose to kind of have this effect stand out, so I will braid it longer. Okay, so next I want to make it a bit more loose. As you see on top, it looks very good, but on the bottom it looks a bit more rigid and stiff. So we want to kind of soften the fishtail a bit, so we kind of pinch and pull. Now remember, when you are pinching and pulling, don't pull too much, just a bit would be fine. So the farther you go up, the more you pull and pinch. And of course on the left hand as well. Now the technique here is just to apply the pinching and pulling slowly and gently. So you don't need to pinch and pull and have it in place with one pull. You can pull multiple times, but gently and slowly adjusting as you go. Just remember that it is a gradual effect from the top to the bottom, then you should be fine. So here you can see that it creates a more harmonious sense when compared to the upper part of the hairstyle. Then we apply the hairband on the end. Again, take the last round up and apply your hair around the rubber band. Then put the end through the rubber band and conceal the hairband with your hair. As for the very end, we want to make sure that there are also some waves and curves on the very end. Okay, there you go. This is the demonstration for the delicate braiding drop style. Now, are there any questions when you guys are trying this at home? The key point to this hairstyle is that once you're finished with this hairstyle, the contour of it should be very smooth. It is not very sharp, so it is very smooth and it is very harmonious. And you can see that on the bottom, it is becoming gradually smaller. And there is this angle of a inverse triangle on the back. And also we need to take care of the end of the hair. Make sure that it is curly. So make sure that it is not straight. It needs to be curly in order to go as a whole with the whole hairstyle, like this. The dimensions up here and this whole hairstyle. As you can see, each of the lines of this hairstyle are basically the same. The size of these lines, for example, this line, and also this line, they are approximately the same in length. So if they're all the same in length, it will create a tidier sense. If it's different, then it will become fuzzy. And when it becomes fuzzy, it won't look that good. Then it will have a very bad sense of layer. Okay, so this is the demonstration for the delicate braiding drop style. Are there any questions? Okay, then let's talk about the bangs. If we have a longer bang, how can we create the perfect bangs that goes with the hairstyle? How do we make it more dimensional? Say, for example, if you have the bangs shown on the camera right now, and I want to create a very gentle curve here. So maybe curve to the left or curve to the right, we can utilize the curling wand. Horizontally, with a little bit of angle like this, scoop it in, twist, and move outwards very quickly. So it will create a very gentle curve. After that, smooth it out with a comb. Next, I want to create the dimensions on this part. So my left hand is holding it in place. My right hand, you can prepare these kind of little clips, or we can call them pins. So they're very small. Use one hand to secure the hairs in place and use your other hand to apply the pins. The length should be like this. So in the middle, it is the highest part. We want to pinch and pull the parts on the middle. And on the sides, we kind of go according to the middle. So it will kind of create a little triangle over here. For the ones that are moving forward, we kind of want to pinch them out a bit, but don't block your eyes. After that, use a pin to clip it here. Next, spray some hairspray to set this whole hairstyle. After that, we can remove the pin. We can use another small pin like this to hide it and secure it with the hair in the side. Then loosen the hair on this part. Like this. Okay, this is one style of the bangs. Now let's demonstrate another one. These bangs are a bit more soft. If we want to create a different feeling, you want to create a bit more wave and curve, then we can separate them into two sections in the front and two sections in the back. So here we will create an outward curling with the height of the cheekbone. So we will apply the curling wand here, curl it. You can see that the end of the hair is facing the front. You can see that my position is always at the cheekbone. So you will see that it only creates a curve where the cheekbone is. Let me demonstrate again. It is over here at the cheekbone. Hold your curling wand like this. Twist it, but don't move upwards. Just stay in that position where the cheekbone is. Curl it up, and then smoothly take it out. Put it down. Then for the two sections in the front, take one session. For these two, you can have a higher position. So this is approximately where the eyes is. Then release and apply the second one. The height is the same as the eyes. Then release. Next, we will smooth it with a comb and move it backwards. So you'll see that the lines are also pretty soft, but it's more according to the face of the contour. Then we will apply the same techniques to the second sections, and we overlap them with the existing hairs. So we will create different layers. Next, we will pinch and pull to create dimensions on this part. The middle is the highest, then it gradually gets lower to the sides. Then spray some hairspray to set this whole hairstyle. Then there you go. This type of bang would have more sense of waves and curves. So for the bangs, are there any questions until now? If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. Are there any questions? Let me turn the angle for you. Okay, so that was the delicate braiding drop style. I'm sure that you've all learned a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. We've went through the one twist, double twist, and how to apply some clips and pins, and there are some variants to each hairstyle. So actually, when we are creating these hairstyles, you just need to understand the basic techniques, and you can actually create a lot of different variants of hairstyles. So until now, if there are no further questions, this would be the end of today's course. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is the end for today's live streaming on this course. Thank you very much.